Hey, welcome back to my channel, The Intuitive Mindset with Jeannie Lynch. Going to continue the beautiful work of teaching modalities. And today we're going to look at two, but we're going to blend them together. Are you ready? Many of you have asked me for a follow-up to the tarot videos where we're talking about the Fool's Journey. And today we're going to pull in astrology and tarot. You're going to find out that they were not always connected, but they're completely married today. What exactly does that mean? You know what you got to do. You got to stay listening. This is for anyone who's working with either of these modalities or has an interest in learning the journey that you're on in this path and also are fascinated by what the universe has to teach us. This one is especially for you. Enjoy. Hey, thanks for staying clicked in. So right out of the gate, every card, every symbol, every planet, every position, every date, right? Every journey, this is all everything to do with our life, right? So if you think about the Fool's Journey truly being a journey that you're on, I will tell you that astrology is the map. So we're going to talk about the story that we're all on, this beautiful experience of life and being in a physical body. We're also going to explain a little bit of the backdrop of how these two modalities came together and when, the marrying of those two modalities. And we're going to share today in a very easy format. You're going to learn the connection of each tarot card in the Fool's Journey, its connection to astrology, and then you're going to learn the positive and the negative, or the upright and the reverse position of it. And also kind of like, I don't like using this word on my channel, but many teachings do, the demon. The demon doesn't mean demons, but it does mean that the one aspect of these modalities together that they have to teach us. So let me give you one example so I don't lose you and you think it's a negative video. Um, Leadership, right? Leadership is the emperor in tarot, and in astrology, the leader is Aries. Yeah, you guessed it. That's my sign, right? And Aries, is the leader. It's the one who likes to teach, has a lot of energy. But the shadow side or the demon in that would be somebody who maybe is leading hypothetically right now that isn't serving everybody, maybe just serving half the people. Okay, I will not go there, but you see where I'm going with the idea. So we're going to explore that concept for each one of the cards. So I promise you, get your journal. You're going to learn a lot in this video as I break it down and marry the two. Let's go. I love how these two modalities came together. In the 15th century, tarot comes out, and this was at this point art and play only. Years later, astrology in the 17th century was created, and they came together in what we call the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Now, here's some names you might recognize. Rider-Waite, McGregor, Mathers, and Crowley. They assigned each tarot card the astrological, the elementals, the Kabbalist correspondence to every tarot card. And it goes like this. The major card became aligned with the zodiac signs and the planets. The minors were linked to fire, water, air, and earth. And the court cards, as we call them, were connected to the modalities such as cardinal, fixed, and even mutable. Now, from that point forward, and this is early 1800s to 1900s, from that point forward, tarot and astrology became forever intertwined in the Western esoteric traditions. It. First card coming up, no surprise here. The Fool starts our journey, right? He's taking that leap of faith by stepping off the ledge, and it is tied to Uranus. Let's find out why next. Uranus is the planet all about awakening, Also, rebellion and pure potentiality. I love that word. The cosmic disruptor that shatters patterns so new ones can emerge. Like the Fool, Uranus represents the soul before it has the plan. It's that wide eyed, fearless, and maybe a little reckless that we can all be at times. In that moment before we leap, when faith outweighs our fear. And on the light side, you ask, this is all about freedom, originality, and the courage to start fresh. And we need to do that so many times in our life, right? When we're truly experiencing everything we have to experience. The shadow side, however, is chaos. Maybe even a little carelessness or ignoring our intuition. Uranus, you see, reminds us that sometimes the only way to evolve is to jump without a parachute. Remember that Uranus is the cosmic prankster. It zaps you into awareness when you least expect it. Next up, we have the connection of the magician to the planet Mercury. The magician to me is always about the law of attraction, and Mercury is always about communication, the thirst for knowledge. Let's find out more. Mercury. Mercury is the messenger of the gods. This is the bridge from heaven to earth. It governs all communication, intellect, and the power of our thoughts. The magician channels Mercury perfectly, with one hand pointing at the sky and the other to the ground. This is all about manifesting divine inspiration into tangible form. Upright in this position, it's about consciousness and even creation, using clarity and focus and skill. Law of attraction sound familiar? In the reversed, however, the Mercury shadow side appears as manipulation and maybe even a little trickery. And the best line here is that Mercury reminds us that our words are spells, so use them wisely. The High Priestess and the beautiful moon. I love that these two are absolutely connected. When you think about the High Priestess, it's everything to do with trusting your intuition. And the moon is also all about those things that we can't see, those insecurities. Now, don't confuse the moon in tarot with the moon as the planet, although you can see there's a little juxtaposition right there. So let's find out more about how the planet and this card comes together. The moon. The moon governs cycles. It's also mysterious and all about our intuition. It's really all the qualities of the High Priestess. Remember, she lives between the worlds, or behind the veil, as I always say. She's guided not by logic, but truly by instinct. The moon also reflects those things that we can't see, those unseen tides of emotions and those phases that happen constantly as we move through our life. When this energy flows freely, it brings deep insight and connection to all those things that are unconscious or those things that are subconscious. But in the shadow side of this, it clouds our judgment, and sometimes it can have illusions and even fear. The moon, remember, reminds us that truth isn't always so out loud. Sometimes it whispers. I love this beautiful saying, too, that the moon doesn't speak, she reveals. The moon lights what magic can't. And remember, in the Fool's journey, when the Fool comes upon the High Priestess, she says, "Fool, we will meet again when you're ready to travel the most secret path of all." Is the Empress, who's all about nurturing and taking care of ourselves and planting the seeds, right? And Venus, which is also about love, beauty, and harmony. So it makes sense that these two come together. But let's find the opposition to this, the planet and the card. The astrology connection to Venus. Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and harmony. She's also the divine mother that nurtures life into bloom. just like the Empress. The Empress channels abundance with grace and sensitivity. She teaches us to create from pleasure and to receive it as easily as we give. She wants us to see the beauty in all things. When this is reversed, the same energy can be a little smothering or maybe even overindulgent. Venus shows us that real abundance isn't about having an excess amount. It's about being in alignment with what we love and our own self-worth. Imagine this. If Venus whispers,
"You deserve pleasure.
She would also remind you, however,
Just don't drown in it."
The next one up we have is the Emperor and Aries. This one tends to make the most sense to me, and maybe it's because I'm Aries, but the fact that you can see the Emperor, who is all about guiding and leading and, putting people, let's say, into war, but making sure that they all don't get killed when you do that, that there's a reason for it and behind it. And then, of course, we have Aries, which is the start and the beginning of things. So let's find out more about the marriage between these two modalities. Aries is ruled by Mars, and it embodies leadership and drive and initiative, and that is absolutely all about the Emperor in tarot. After all, he's the builder, the protector, and the archetype of order. Upright in this position, he leads with confidence and clear direction. Reversed, however, that fire that Aries have can become a little bit too dominating, maybe even led by ego, and certainly inflexibility. Remember that Aries teaches us that true power is balanced with accountability. The Emperor reminds us that boundaries and structure are not cages, they're the scaffolding that we need for success. The Emperor and the Aries energy can build empires, but remember, they can also burn them down. Next up, we have the Hierophant and the Taurus. Let's talk about both of these. The Hierophant is typically seen as like a spiritual leader in tarot. It's the one who has the rules and you need to abide by them. It has the structure and the silos around it. And it's interesting because in Taurus, they also have a lot of that really strong work ethic, connected to earth, very determined, and certainly persistent. Let's find out more. The Taurus and the Hierophant. Taurus energy grounds the soul in ritual, faith, and even physical presence. Ruled by Venus, it values stability and tradition, making it the absolute perfect match for the Hierophant. He represents the wisdom of systems, the comfort of the familiar, and the guidance of that trusted mentor. But in the shadow side, that same devotion can turn to rigidity or even dogma. Taurus teaches, build what's proven, but don't let comfort smother your curiosity. The Taurus within us reminds us that truth should feel steady, but not stubborn. Next up, we have the connection between the tarot card, the Lovers, and the astrology sign, Gemini. Gemini represents duality, curiosity, and even connection, the sacred dance of we and me. The Lovers card captures this perfectly. In its upright position, it's all about alignment, choice, and authenticity. They know that love is rooted in the truth. Reversed, however, is Gemini's gift for flexibility. Sometimes can become confusion or even avoidance. The Lovers reminds us that in every relationship, romantic or otherwise, it is a mirror. So the question here is, I hope you like what you see. Gemini's energy asks, are you choosing with love or choosing through fear? This next one wasn't as obvious as the others were to me. We have the Chariot and Cancer. The charioteer being all about movement and partnering up with our adversaries, right? And Cancer being all about, in my eyes, family. But as I dug a little deeper, I certainly understood the connection between these two.
Cancer is ruled by the moon, which drives with emotional intelligence and fierce protectiveness. The chariot reflects all that determination, so it makes sense that these two are connected. The will to move forward no matter what the storm. Upright, it's all about emotional mastery and victory through focus. Reversed, it can be directionalist and sometimes a little overwhelmed by all those feelings. Cancer's energy teaches us that true progression requires both armor and heart, control without suspension, and certainly passion without chaos. So remember, if Cancer drives with heart, just make sure all those feelings don't take over the wheel.
I love the marriage between the next one. We have strength, which isn't about this kind of strength. It's about the strength that comes from within, being totally connected to the planet and to the astrology of Leo. This makes beautiful sense. Here's why.
Leo's solar fire shines through this strength card with courage and compassion, confidence but without cruelty. It is the quiet roar of the inner power. In the upright position, strength shows us grace under pressure. Reversed, however, is all about pride and insecurity. Leo's energy reminds us that leadership begins with self-love when the heart and will are united. You don't have to force strength. The truth is, you become it. Leo teaches us that true strength purrs. It doesn't roar.
The next connection we have is a perfect marriage. We have the Hermit, which is all about wisdom and earth and walks the earth at night, and Virgo. Is there a better marriage between these two modalities? Virgo being all, in the head with its wisdom and weighing the differences and very, what's the word? Workaholics, right? Here's some more things about those two modalities.
Virgo is known as the healer sage, the practical one, the wise one, and certainly the humble one. And this, my friends, is the very essence of the hermit. This archetype withdraws to escape, but not to just be alone. It does it to refine itself. It's shredding all those distractions and illuminating the truth. In the upright position, this is all about spiritual clarity. Reversed, it can become a little too isolated or maybe even focused on perfectionism. So Virgo here teaches us all about discernment. It understands that solitude heals when it's chosen, but can imprison us when it's feared. Virgo's lantern, or I should say the hermit's lantern, shows flaws, not to judge them. It brings them to light so we can heal them.
I love the connection between the next two because they sound so similar. If you look at the astrology chart for Jupiter and you look at the tarot card explanation for the Wheel of Fortune, you will not find a better connection. Here's why.
The Wheel of Fortune and Jupiter. Jupiter planet is all about expansion and even luck. It actually spins the Wheel of Fortune. It governs cycles of growth, destiny, and divine timing. In its upright position, it's all about opportunity and synchronicity. It's those times where life is turning in your favor. Reversed, however, it signals resistance or maybe even karmic repetition. You ask about Juniper's wisdom. This is all in knowing that the wheel never stops turning. What goes up must come down. You can't control the spin, but you can choose your response to it. So remember, Jupiter spins the wheel. Your job is to stay centered when it returns.
Next up, we have justice. And doesn't it make sense that justice is totally connected to Libra? After all, both of them have pictures and symbols of the scales. But here's the other side and some other things you might want to think about with these two being connected.
The beautiful connection between justice and Libra. But remember, Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus seeks balance, truth, and even the right relationship. The Justice card embodies the cosmic law. You remember, what is sown will be reaped. In the upright position, this is absolutely all about clarity, integrity, and karmic fairness. In its reverse position, it's about biased and maybe even tipping the scales the wrong way. Libra reminds us that justice isn't punishment, it's restoration. When the heart and the mind are aligned, balance will flow naturally. Libra weighs not just your actions, but also your intentions.
Next up, we have the Hanged Man, which is all about kind of being stuck in our place, being hung upside down, right? Not by our neck, surrendering. And I'm kind of surprised because Neptune is a little complicated for me. I would have thought Neptune would have been more connected to the High Priestess with the whole intuition connection. So I had to dig a little bit deeper into this one. Here's what I uncovered. Enjoy.
The Hanged Man and Neptune. Neptune is the ruler of dreams and the spiritual unknown, and actually flows through the Hanged Man. This is all about surrender in action for both modalities. The art of seeing the world maybe from a different angle. In its upright position, it brings enlightenment through practice, through patience, and certainly through sacrifice. When it's reversed, you might be drowning in your own illusion of self-pity. Perhaps you've used words like, why me? What's the lesson? Why not now? So Neptune's lesson here is when life suspends you, please don't see it as punishment. Please see it as an opportunity to gain perspective.
This was another one that was fun to explore. We have Death and Scorpio. Death is all about transition, and Scorpios are quite intense. If you're a Scorpio, you know what I mean by that. Here's some more about the two.
I learned that Scorpio is actually ruled by Pluto and Mars, which is a complete sign of transformation and rebirth. So, of course, the Death card is its perfect mirror. This is the necessary ending before renewal, which is all about the Death card and Scorpio. In its upright position, this is all about transformation, release, and liberation. In its reversed, it's about those times we fear change or even get a little stagnant. So Scorpio teaches us that endings aren't losses, they're absolutely upgrades. Something dies so that something truer can live.
We're up to the Temperance card now. And Temperance to me, it's all about blending. It's all about patience. It's about the polarity coming together. Whole other story about that in a minute. But Sagittarius is the connection. And Sagittarius are all about the experience. And they're also known for being really mutable. So let's find out more as we put these two together.
Sagittarians are totally known for blending philosophy with faith and even adventure. And this is truly the spirit of the Temperance. It's the Alchemist card, the one about mixing fire and water and action and patience. In its upright, it's all about flow, balance, and divine timing. Reversed, however, it's about, that restlessness, trying to tip the scales. So Sagittarius whispers at this moment, truth doesn't need extremes. It thrives on the middle path. Sounds like a little bit like the Buddhist way, doesn't it? Another great example would be kind of where we are in the world right now. Wouldn't it be great if these two energies were out and in full force right now, bringing two parties together to communicate, to negotiate, to listen, to be fair, right? To compromise. I could go on and on. This is absolutely this energy. Sagittarius reminds us that enlightenment comes when it is blended one beautiful sip at a time. Let's not give up hope here that it's even possible.
The card, the Devil, being connected to the astrology of Capricorn. And this kind of surprised me because my man's a Capricorn, and yes, he's a planner, and yes, he doesn't do anything without a purpose. And they're known as the businessmen of all zodiac signs, okay? It kind of surprised me that it was connecting it to the devil because when I think of the devil, those silly things come to mind, greed, being held. And when I put these two together, I think of a Capricorn out of power might appear to be more like the devil, but boy, did I learn a little bit more. Here you go.
I learned that Capricorn is actually ruled by Saturn, and Saturn governs ambition, mastery, and absolutely the material reality we live in. So these are all the themes that are connected to the devil. So in its upright position, it's all about those healthy disciplines, those commitments we have. But in reverse, it's when it's out of control and it tips over to addiction and fear. So the Capricorn energy here says every chain is self-forged. What does that mean? Esther and Jerry Hicks, the teaching of Abraham's, quotes, "You're so free you can choose bondage," which I love because what it's really saying is you're never really stuck. You're kind of holding yourself there. The devil isn't evil after all. He's just a test of our own awareness. So the question is here, are you really bound or are you just comfortable?
Next up, we have the Tower and its connection to the astrology of Mars. And this makes sense because Mars truly is all about the clearing away to let the new in. Mars is all about action and it's about goals. And the Tower in tarot can be, all those things that you build can come crumbling down. So perhaps you see the connection. Here's more.
Here's a little plot twist to the Fool's Journey when the Tower and Mars truly do come together. Mars is a planet all about action and conflict. And guess what? It fuels the Tower's explosion to liberation. So this is all about divine disruption. It's when those structures around us are no longer serving us, so they collapse, so the truth can emerge. Perhaps you're in a job right now that you can't stand going to, or you're in a relationship that might not be the best reflection of your love and your capacity. That's when the Tower shows up. So in its upright position, it's about the awakening. In reversed, it's when we don't move or when we stay stuck. It's the resistance to those times. So Mars teaches us that destruction is not cruelty. It's clarity. Sometimes the only way to rebuild is for things to fall apart.
Next up, we have the star connected to Aquarius. And I love this because Aquarians are smart, they're creative, and they're certainly independent. Here's what the star has to offer.
The star and Aquarius. Aquarians are ruled by Uranus. And don't forget, Uranus was connected to the Fool. See how this is all coming together? Uranus is the visionaries, the innovative, and the deep humanitarian. And the star shines absolutely with that same energy. It's the hope after chaos. So in its upright position, it's all about healing and renewed purpose. Reversed, however, it's about self-doubt and maybe even a little cynicism. Aquarians say your light is meant to guide others. Don't dim it just to fit in.
Next up, we have the tarot card, the moon, and its connection to Pisces. And Pisces is very empathetic, very sensitive, right? And the moon is all about insecurities and those things we can't see. So makes sense that these two are connected. Here's
Pisces, the dreamer of the zodiac. This is all about the energy of lives between worlds, or lives between lives, right? And this is absolutely connected to the moon card because the moon reflects all of those mysteries and even our connection to our intuition, our illusions, and those emotional tides we experience so often in our physical body. So in the upright position, it's about empathy and psychic awareness. If it's reversed, it can be a little confusing and maybe even escapism comes up. So Pisces reminds us to stay grounded and remember that reality is fluid. Just make sure your feet touch the shore occasionally. Pisces also reminds us that intuition without grounding is just fantasy.
Next up, we have kind of a little sidebar here. We have the sun and the astrology connection to solar flare. Here we go.
This was a fun one to explore because basically what it's saying is the sun is the sun. The sun has its own planet, and that is the sun. Here, the planet and the card are one. The sun represents vitality, confidence, and divine truth. Anything that is lit up can be seen, right? It's the moment of illumination after every shadow. So in its upright position, it truly is all about joy and clarity. Reversed, think about what the sun can do if it's out too long, right? We can reach burnout or inflated ego. So the sun teaches us that authentic joy isn't loud. It is absolutely radiant.
2 more to go. Here we go. We have Judgment and Pluto. And this is a little complex because Pluto could have gone with a couple other cards. It could have gone with the Death card. It could have gone with the Moon, right? But here we are with Judgment. And here's why.
This was a blast to explore because Pluto governs transformation and resurrection. And this is absolutely the energy of judgment. It is the call to awaken, to shed those old skins and answer to your new, higher purpose. In the upright, this is all about forgiveness and even rebirth. If you deny this, though, you're in the reversed, which is all about denial and resistance. So here, Pluto asks, will you evolve willingly, or will you wait for the universe to push you? So here's the question today. Next time Pluto rings that cosmic alarm clock to wake you up, will you rise or will you rinse and repeat?
And the last card in tarot in the Fool's Journey ends with the connection of the world to Saturn. And I love this because in the Fool's Journey, when one thing ends, another must begin, right? It's got you think it's the ending, but it's really the beginning. And what I love about Saturn is it's really the crown, right? The crown jewel at the very end. But yet the cycle starts all over again. So here's a little more about the marriage between these two.
Of course, we have to end with the world and Saturn. Saturn is the greatest teacher. It teaches all about rules, boundaries, time, and mastery. The world here is all about completion and the soul graduating from its karmic course. So in its upright position, it's all about fulfillment and integration. Reversed, however, is about those delays or the avoidance of responsibility. So Saturn's lesson here is simple. Discipline is divine. The world reminds us that in every ending there is a beginning, but this time you get to carry that wisdom with you. Saturn's test to you is not to break you, but guess what? To crown you.
Hey, I hope you liked today's video. More videos are out on my channel regarding the Fool's Journey and these two coming together today. I have a printable version in my description for you if you want some of my cheat sheet notes, and that's my gift to you. And I will absolutely see you next video. Bye for now. Namaste.